And welcome into a new episode of the Blues No Show. My name is Brandon. That's Brandon with me on the other side, or on that side, not that side, that side. We're going to be talking about the 2025-26 St. Louis Blues schedule. We talk a little bit about Dylan Holloway, and then a question at the end, not just for Brandon, but for everybody who's watching today.
Oh joy!
And here in a little bit, Brandon, how you doing on this fabulous Tuesday? Mid morning, late morning, I guess.
A little tired. Just woke up about maybe 20, 30 minutes ago, so I kind of had a little bit of a pick me up to get me going for this. But we'll be good for the show, and then gonna be getting going for the day afterwards. So
yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, I've been up and at it since about 6 o'clock this morning. I had a little football practice this morning, and we're ready to get the day going. Last time we talked about the Zach Bolduc trade, or the Zachary Bolduc trade. We talked about a whole bunch of other stuff too. So if you haven't seen this episode yet, go back and watch it as well. Go ahead and not now, after the show's over. Actually, after the show's over, go back and watch that previous episode. We talked about the Bolduc trade, talked about the free agent signings as well. Let's talk about the one big thing though that came out just this past week. I guess it was towards the end of last week, and that was the 2025-26 St. Louis Blues schedule. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up here on the screen. Quite an interesting schedule, to say the least. You get the preseason games. You get 2 against the Dallas Stars, 2 against the Blackhawks, only 1 against Columbus this year, and the oddball out being the Ottawa Senators at home in the preseason. You get a weird week there in between the 2 away games in Columbus. The game you start the preseason at Dallas at Columbus, and you get a week off, and you're home against Chicago. I know preseason doesn't really mean a lot in the end of things, really, and I know they're going to be shortening it, I believe, to 4 games.
4 games, yeah.
So 4 games after this year.
Yeah, after this year, they're going to 4 preseason games and 84 games.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. See how that works out. But let's talk about, you get the home opener right away. Against the Minnesota Wild, Thursday, October 9th, 7 p.m. What do you think about that one? It seems like the Minnesota Wild are the Blues' common home opener as of late.
Yeah, it's a good division rival or team that they got set up against going in for the first game of the season. You're even going to see a Tarasenko reunion on the very first game of the season this year. I think it'll be an interesting game. Me and the wife and a few friends are already kind of looking into potentially getting tickets for this game. I think it'll be a good game for the Blues. It'll be a challenge to start out, which I think is good for this team. It definitely puts the premise of getting a good start early, I would say, because I don't know, we're going to talk about it for here probably shortly, but you got a strong kind of schedule to start the season, so it'll be interesting to see how the Blues come out and start this year.
Yeah, so after that home opener, then you go on the road to a little bit of a early season Western Canadian road trip to Calgary at 3 p.m. start on a Saturday, and then a 6:30 start on that Monday. Quick little road trip to start the season. I think I like those. I think it gets a little bit of that team camaraderie together early on in the season, especially with 7 of the first 11 at home.
Definitely. Yep, and of those 11 games, you're going to have, I think it was 4 or 5 division teams in there as well. So I mean, you're going to be going up against potential teams that you can get 8 or 10 points already quickly on your division foes. So I mean, that'll be a good kind of stretch for this team if they can come out and get a good number of points against teams that are in their division.
Right. Yeah, and you get to see the the Detroit Red Wings 2 times very early on in the season. 2 times within the first month. You play Detroit 2 times and Vancouver 2 times.
Yep.
Early on, just in the month of October. And it's not a bad thing. You have one back-to-back set of games or pair of games in October. You're looking at the 27th, 28th, where you're at Pittsburgh and you come back home for a 7:15 game against the Red Wings. Anything else in the month of October that sticks out to you?
Not really. I mean, you got a couple of the preseason games, and you're looking at a relatively normal, I think, October for the start of the season. November, though, is going to be brutal.
November gets a little brutal. So you're looking at November. You start on the road at Columbus, and you're home one versus Edmonton, and then you're back to back, the first back to back series or pair of games in the month of November against the Capitals, and then you're traveling to Buffalo right away. Then you're home against Seattle. You get a couple days off. You're back home against the Flames, and you get another back to back against two very opposite teams, in my opinion, in the Flyers, and then you get to welcome the Vegas Golden Knights to town. After that, you get your Eastern Conference every single year. They make this type of road trip where they go from a Canadian team. Usually it's flipped around though. Usually I was
gonna say usually they
start in New Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually they end in Toronto, but I guess they decided to flip it this year.
Yeah, so they get a nice almost 2-week road trip, or I guess week and a half road trip.
Yeah,
no, it's about a 2-week road trip, I guess, or so, somewhere around there. With the start in Toronto and finishing out in Jersey, and then you come back home to another set of back-to-backs against two probably more similar teams than you get than the previous home back-to-back. You get a 3 p.m. Friday start against the Ottawa Senators. You talk about an oddball. 3 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Usually they have Friday games being in the evening. That's kind of weird that they're having this game at early afternoon, especially at home.
At home.
Especially
against the Eastern Conference team too. It was against I don't know. That's a funky one.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Anything catch your eye in November besides the 3 back-to-backs? You get a long road trip there, 3 back-to-backs. November, tough. Probably the toughest month of the year.
I was gonna say you don't have very many days off in November. You're starting out on a grind, second month into this season, and I mean you got some hard opponents. I mean you got Edmonton to start the month. You got Vegas in there. I don't know how Toronto is going to be after losing Marner this year.
They'll be fine. They'll probably be better.
Probably, honestly. I mean, you got a pretty decent amount of teams that are higher, probably in the tier list, and maybe a lot of mid-tier teams in November. But I mean, it's just this month is just going to be a grind. You got three back-to-back series games, and they're all on top of each other. You got maybe 1, 2, 3 2-day breaks in there. Other than that, it's every other day, if not every day. And it's this month in November is going to be a grind for this team.
Yeah. You get a lot of Eastern Conference teams in November too. You get a lot of Eastern Conference teams to start the season.
Yep. Which
you get Pittsburgh once, Detroit twice. So there's 3. Columbus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Eastern Conference games in the first chunk of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, a lot of those you're going to be making up with Western Conference teams on the back half of the season, which we'll be talking about here in a little bit.
Yeah. Move ahead to December. December is not too bad of a month. You get just 2 back-to-back series or 2 back-to-back chunks of game there. You get a nice little break there. You for some reason they this is like a very common thing. They finish out I guess right before that Christmas break in Florida. It's been a common thing, at least I think the last couple of years too. Finish out in Tampa Bay, but you get a couple more. You get another Eastern Conference road trip. You come home for 3, and then you get another little quick Eastern Conference road trip to Boston, Ottawa, and Montreal, and then you're back home again against Boston. I don't know. The month of December is rather interesting. You get a back to back against Nashville and Chicago, and then a back to back for the first time. You don't play Winnipeg until December 17th, which I think is
it's kind of weird.
But I do like that you face Chicago within a week of the start of the season, just because I know that rivalry is not as fierce as it used to be.
Yeah,
but
after what happened last year, I mean that first game against Winnipeg is going to be. I have a feeling that's going to be probably closer to one of the more intense games that you're going to have probably in the beginning of the season is against Winnipeg in December, and that is, I feel that one's going to be a bloodbath, especially after how the series ended in the playoffs this past season.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good game.
It should be. It's one that I'd be looking forward to. It's on a
especially
Wednesday night.
With the changes that the Blues have made this offseason.
Yeah. You get the Nashville Predators 3 times in the month of December. Rather interesting there too, and it's the first time you play the. Check me if I'm wrong, but the first time you play the Colorado Avalanche is away, December 31st.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of Central Division teams that you're not actually playing until like a few months into the season. I mean, we've got Dallas. We got Dallas in the beginning of the month.
Dallas, Chicago, and Minnesota.
Yeah, and then you got the other part of the division that you're not going to be playing until December.
Yeah, that's interesting to say.
And all this, I feel like I have a feeling is by design, because if you look at the later half of this season, it's crammed full of Central Division teams.
Yeah, we'll get to April here in a little bit, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the last 9 games of the season that are against divisional opponents. So that could make for an interesting little race to the playoffs if it's that point of the season and whatnot. Anything stick out in December? There's nothing too crazy. I mean, again, you play Nashville 3 times in a month. Other than that, there's nothing in December that makes me go, ooh.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have that kind of like that 4-day break after the Florida series for the team, especially after how this team is going to be starting this season. Yeah. It'll probably be a nice break after you probably hang out in Florida for probably a day or two, and then maybe come back home. But I don't know how that all works. They may just fly back the day after Tampa Bay, and then
let it be,
and then just spend those 3 days at home and get kind of rejuvenated before you go up against Nashville for the 3rd time in this month.
Yeah. Jump over to the start of the new year. You get a 2:00 Friday afternoon start against the. I see you shaking your head.
No, I'm looking at this month, man. Aside from November, January is a fucking brutal month. It looks like you got a lot of back-to-backs again.
Yeah, you got 2 of them. You get 4 Friday games, 4 Saturday games.
You got one at the very beginning of the month, and then a week later, and then 2 weeks later, you got back-to-backs.
Yeah. Let's just say you got 2 of them. And you got the 4 Friday games thrown in there, but you get a weird start times. 2:00 on a Friday against Vegas, and then 3:00 on Saturday against Montreal.
Yeah, that's these start times this season are kind of odd a little bit, especially for Fridays. That's like odd for the.
I know, and I'm sure a lot of people will probably be off work that day. That they'll take off work because when it's a Friday, it's the day after New Year's.
I was gonna say it's the day after New Year's, so they're probably gonna be off by that.
And if the NHL is at all typical of how they schedule things, I believe the Winter Classic is on the 2nd.
Okay.
Because they'll probably have. I'm gonna double check, but knowing the NHL, they're probably gonna have 16 games on the 2nd, along with the Winter Classic. I'm gonna look it up here because that's just very typical of the. Yep.
Probably at noon.
In Miami, 2026 Winter Classic is scheduled to be played on January 2nd in Miami.
I mean,
the
granted,
Florida
it won't
Panthers
be that,
and the New York Rangers.
and then it won't be. I mean, at least in Florida at that time, it won't be like outrageously hot.
I know, but this is we talked about this last year. I think.
Yeah.
This is if you're the NHL, this is your key marquee game of the season.
Put it on the first when you have. I mean, unless it's gonna be like what it was last year.
You'll have college football games either way. You're gonna have them on the first. You're gonna have them on the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
That's your main game of the season. That's the game you build your season out off of.
Yep.
It needs to be a standalone game. It needs to be a standalone game. You don't need to have 15 other teams playing, 16 other teams playing that day.
Yeah, because I think the 2nd is a pretty heavy day of games, if I remember correctly.
Last year it was, and the next day on Saturday there was one.
But I think where was it? In Chicago, I think it was but then again, it's weird. They might have had something scheduled for Wrigley that day or something. I don't know.
They moved it from the first to the off of the first because of the college football playoffs. Yeah. That was the reason why.
And a lot of it is probably the network.
Probably. Yeah, it's because it's all ESPN. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, rant over. I apologize. It just doesn't make any sense. Hey, you're the NHL. You start your first game of the season by itself. You could probably have 2 games. Okay, you can have an Eastern Conference game and a Western Conference game. Sure, that's fine. Your first game of the season, give me the Edmonton Oilers in Florida for the banner raising for the Florida Panthers. You want your ratings to shoot up.
There you go.
Schedule better. You know how exciting that would be to open your season? You have a rematch of 2 teams that literally just played each other to finish your season. That have played in back-to-back Stanley Cups finals.
Who is it? Because who are they going up against?
Huh?
Who are they
Chicago.
going up against?
They're opening the season against Chicago.
Why Chicago? That seems
dumb.
I don't know. That seems dumb.
Yeah. Anyways.
Put it up against another Western Conference team that actually might, matter.
Put them up against Edmonton. Holy crap. It can be in Edmonton. Oh, you want to make it even more spicier, put it in Edmonton.
Yeah. But then, But then they want to do their whole banner raising, and you know how that is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, back to the Blues schedule. Anything in February that catches nothing in February. I think January. Interesting. It'll be fine. They'll be fine. You got a lot of little more home games than road games, which is nice. A lot of couple Eastern Conference teams thrown in there.
Yep, but then kind of what we talked about earlier, where you have a lot of home games like starting out, and I mean the coming months you're going to have a hell of a lot more road games than you're going to be having home games.
Yeah, because if you look at February, you have the Olympic break in there, which will be fun, which will be exciting to watch because the NHL players are allowed there. They're allowing them to play in the Olympics, which is going to be awesome to watch.
Yep.
I don't know if it'll be as exciting as the Four Nations face-off last year, but I'd imagine it's still going to have a really high level of intensity because there's going to be more teams in there than that.
Well, that and so a little bit of rant time for Brandon. The whole thing with excluding Russia still, I think, is absolutely dumb. And I mean, because you're excluding I would think a high caliber group of
they're a powerhouse
of players from this tournament, and I mean, it's, to me, that just seems, and I get it because of all the stuff going on in the world and everything, that you gotta give some sort of retaliation or some sort of backlash for whatever is going on in the world to countries. And I just feel like for excluding these group of guys who haven't been able to play in this kind of atmosphere for how long now, I feel like it's still kind of, I would think it's gonna suck for a lot of those guys, because I mean, I know Ovi really wants to be back in the Olympics. I'm sure. Well, I was gonna say Pasta, but Pasta's gonna be playing for Czech.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a bunch of players out there aside from Ovi. I mean, you got Pavel Buchnevich with us. There's a bunch of them that probably wish they could be playing in the Olympics, which is arguably the biggest stage aside from the Four Nations tournament that we had last year.
Yeah. I agree. I think it'd be it'd be just, it would add more to it if there was a team for Russia, but again, understand why at the same time why there isn't as well. Again, you get the 2-week break in February, 4 games in the whole month of February, so a nice little break. This is where they changed their tone of the season last year, was at that point in time, and they're going to need to do it again this year because they have 5 home games in the month of March.
Yes,
a lot of road games to finish out the season in general. You have 9 home games in March and April. 9 home games.
Yep. 1.
You play the San Jose Sharks 3 times in March. The only time you're going to play them, you don't play San Jose until March. Holy crap!
And you're pretty much playing a whole series against them in a month, pretty much.
And then you play Winnipeg one time. Okay, you play Winnipeg again in a month from the first meeting in Winnipeg. March is rather interesting to me. There's a lot there. You get Carolina on. Why would they do that? Oh no, it's a home game against Edmonton. Never mind. I would say they're going to have them go from Carolina all the way to Edmonton, but I had it backwards.
But I mean, still going from Carolina, then having to fly home that night to. Hopefully, it's not. Okay, it looks like it's a later start than what I'm seeing, but
yeah, it's 6 p.m. start against Carolina, and then a 7 p.m. start against Florida or against Edmonton.
So that'll be good at least. So you're not having to go late game to early as hell game like you have earlier in the season. Yeah. But that's gonna be a. I would. Yep, not much of a break there, and I mean, really March and April, you don't really get much of a break at all. I mean, you get in March, you get 1, 2, 3 2-day breaks.
Yeah.
And then in April, you're pretty much playing every day until the end of the season, which is 3 weeks into the month of April.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you finish out this season the same place you finished out last season, which was at Utah.
Which, I mean, in April too, I mean, you are going up against predominantly all Western Conference teams aside from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're wanting to see a race for the Western Conference, if not just the Central Division alone, it potentially could be coming down to the last like several games it has every year for the Central Division, because you got, let's see,
We have the three
Colorado
teams that
twice, Winnipeg, Colorado, Minnesota, and then Utah to finish out the series. That's 7 games right there that you're just going to be going against Central Division teams, and all other than that, you got I think it's 9, 10 something games in the month of April, and you're going against majority of Central Division teams in that month alone too. That is, whoo.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and so 6 of your 9 games at the end of the season against the Central Division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gonna make for interesting end of the year. That's for sure. How many? Just a range. This is early on. I know. Looking at the schedule, give me a range of how many wins this team gets
for the Blues. What were they at last year? 40,
42, 41, right? Something around that mark. You're gonna need at least 40 wins to get in.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, you're upgraded from last season. A lot of teams have made a lot of moves, and just seeing this schedule, I think we're gonna see an uptick from last season. I'm not gonna say a huge uptick, but I think you might be looking at 46, 47 wins.
That's fair. Sorry. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Blues app for still having the Arizona Coyotes standings.
Nice. Nice.
I was trying to go back to see how many wins they had last year, and I was like, well, this looks like a lot of teams. I was like, oh, that's because the Coyotes are still there. Anyways, yeah, I say I want to say in between 40 and 45. I'll give that range, 40 to 45.
Okay.
I think they could get in with 40. It'll be tough, but I think the not just the Central Division, but I think the Western Conference in general is going to be a massacre of a conference this year. Who
out of the Central Division do you think is going to be the toughest? Obviously, Colorado has made a big stride this offseason, but
Colorado's old though.
They are, but I mean, we've seen how they play in the playoffs this past season, but it could be. Well, we're recording, but
I think that I don't know. This is tough. I think Winnipeg's still going to be solid. Because Ehlers is, I don't think it's signed anywhere yet. So I don't think he's going to, from the sounds of it, I don't think he's going to be back in Winnipeg. I don't think he's going to be back in Winnipeg. It doesn't sound like he wants to be back in Winnipeg.
No.
Sounds like he wants to go east, Carolina. If you hear them out, did he sign with anybody yet?
I don't think Ehlers has signed with anybody yet. No,
I didn't think so. I think Winnipeg will still be a top contender in the division. I think Dallas is my favorite to win the division. I think right now, they're my favorite to win the division. That could change before the beginning of the season. Go to look at more things. Minnesota is just always a giant question mark because they're either going to be good, they're either going to be really good, or they're going to be not so great. I think Utah could be the dark horse, the quiet team.
Because they made a lot of moves too this offseason. So I mean, they're below us. I mean, it came down to I think what the
last week
month
of the
or
season.
2 months before the season, it was like questionable if it was going to be us or them.
Yeah.
And then we kind of took it over after Four Nations. But I mean, you could be looking at a much more. I mean, they could be easily right up there with us or Minnesota.
Yeah.
I feel like in that middle spot.
Yep. I think Chicago and Nashville still sit at the bottom of the division.
Yeah, they didn't do much upgrading at all this
of them
off season. So I mean, if they're thinking that it's going to come from within, that they're going to do better than what they did the last couple of years, I wouldn't bank on that.
No. Where I think the Blues stand in the Central Division, this will kind of pull us into our next, little topic here. I'll pull the schedule down here, so it's not so much in the way. Where we talk about like state of the franchise, where the Blues stand in the Central Division, I still think they're a middle pack of the Central Division. I think they could compete for a top 3 spot this coming season. But at the same time, I don't know how strong defensively this team is actually going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we made the only real defensive move that the Blues have made. They made more offensive moves, but especially the one defensive move that you've made, you're looking at a big question mark.
Yeah,
he's only played 7 games. He's only played 7 games in the NHL. Everything else, though, he's played AHL and had 60 plus points.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, you have an NHL potential caliber player. Yep. It's just he hasn't had that experience up in the NHL yet, and that's why I think a lot of people, especially myself, were very questionable of this move from Armstrong, because I get that he wants to go younger and they see the upside of Logan Mailloux. It's a very big question mark, and especially he said that he has a job and it's his to lose going into spring training and all of that. But I think it's too big of a I thought it was too big of a question mark to take on, but we'll see how it all comes out to, and once the season starts, especially after the season that Zachary Balduke had last year.
Yeah. It's again, we talked about it on the last episode that we did. So now, if you want to go back and hear our thoughts on Balduke and that whole thing,
yep,
probably safe to do so. But yeah, I don't know. That's where I still think they stand. I think offensively they'll be fine, but it's whether or not they can keep those high-powered offensive teams like Winnipeg, like Minnesota. I mean, I want to say, but Minnesota has a pretty good offensive side of the puck.
At the same point of that, we did lose Letty.
Yeah,
and we do have Fowler still.
Yeah,
which. I mean, given that he's going to be with the team at the start of the season, going through spring training with a coach who hasn't had a full season yet with the Blues and going to be implementing a lot of the things that he wants his team to go out and do at the very start of the season, I feel like that. I mean, yeah, you saw minor changes with the defense.
Yeah.
But I feel like, even though you did make minor changes, you could still see a somewhat of a difference of potentially of this team. I mean, we saw the difference in defense this past season after Four Nations break, from just having a guy like Jim Montgomery having 2 weeks break and find the minor flaws that this team was doing. And now you give him a full off season to comb through everything that this team has been doing off, maybe. And you give him a chance to maybe whip up something that can potentially help this team to do better.
Yeah.
I feel like people are going to be coming into this season with questions, and hopefully the way that they're able to go through spring training, hopefully they'll be able to hopefully alleviate some of those questions that a lot of Blues fans have.
Yeah. I would agree with you. So we trying to figure out how I want to word this. So what talk about the state of the franchise where we see them in the Central Division and whatnot. So you think they're still rebuilding? Are they retooling still? Like, is they're still trying to figure out the pieces? Like, or are they playoff contenders? I think they're playoff contenders, but are they more than a playoff contender? Are they more than a first round exit?
I think you're still kind of there a little bit with a retool, but I mean, you have the pieces.
Yeah,
I think that with bringing in Pius Suter, Nick Jungstead, Logan Mayu, those are pieces that you didn't have last year. So I mean, I would say you're still maybe on the higher upside of a rebuild or retool. I don't want to say. I don't think we're really in a rebuild because
I don't think it's a rebuild. I think
you were 3 years ago. You were in the playoffs in 2022.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see that being a rebuild. A rebuild is like 5+, 6+ years. I would say. What the state of Chicago and Nashville are currently.
Well, when I think rebuild of the Blues way, it was before you got. Before the Oshis came in, before Backus, the kind of early start of Backus, when you made that trade for Halak, I think that was your turning point. Yeah. That was your, okay, we're better off at this point. The years before that, though, that was a rebuild. You're rebuilding through the draft.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what it came through, is that's what they were doing with, where they're at even now.
Yeah. And even too with the acquisitions over the last couple of years. I mean, the acquisitions of Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway too, I feel like massively accelerated this retool, or whatever you want to call it, the Blues have been doing over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It has massively accelerated their plans, because I mean, you don't really think that you're going to have opportunities like that, especially against one single team in Edmonton, to get 2 first round
26
caliber players.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to seeing the upside that they had last season with this team alone too, that was mind blowing. And then you get a guy like Pius Suter who's going to come in and fill in that void in the center gap. Nick Jungstead, who's going to fill out an even better role than I think what Foxa did last year.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be a lot better off this season than what you were last season.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. But you're really helping me out with just rolling into the next topic. You talked about Holloway. Talk about a little bit.
What I'm here for, man. It's what I'm here for.
Guy had a heck of a first season as the St. Louis Blue. I think some of these stats would have been higher if he would have played, if he could have finished out the season. That was my dogs. If you heard that, that was loud. Somebody jumped off of something. I don't know what that was, but 77 games, missed quite a few at the end of the season. 26 goals, 63 points, plus 21. Missed him in the playoffs for sure.
Yes, tremendously. I've looking at the later half of that series against Winnipeg, having Tyler Tucker still in the end of that series, and even having Dylan Holloway in that series, you could have potentially been looking at it a whole different series. I don't. It's about a lot of what ifs.
Well, I think they win that series 6.
Potentially. I mean, it's all. It could have been all up in the air with what could have happened with if either of those guys were still in the mix for that series against Winnipeg. But I mean, going 7 games, and especially with how brutal that series was, I feel like having players like Dylan Holloway or Tyler Tucker, I mean, there's a lot of different lists of players that were kind of hurt going in and out on that series too. So, I mean, it was a brutal series. And I mean, having a guy of this caliber that had 80 something points,
70 or 63.
63 points. I thought that was assists. My bad. 63 points on a season that he missed part of, a good portion of, and to be seeing him at plus 21.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a player that could be a difference maker in the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a guy who's playing both sides of the ice. You know, you hear the fans complain about how Kyrie doesn't play both sides of the ice, this and that, and whatnot.
This guy thought he did a lot better of it this past season.
He did. Towards the end of the season, especially once Montgomery's system got into place, you could see the difference in play in Jordan Kyrou. And I'm probably, if anybody watches this, they're probably going to shoot me in the knees for saying Jordan Kyrou's play at the end of the season wasn't that awful. It was pretty good. Better than normal.
I will say, though, after taking the big hit from Stanley, he did kind of take a little bit of a step back. But, I mean, who wouldn't, though, after taking a big hit from a guy like Stanley?
Yeah. A hit that should have been penalty. But
it's motto.
Yeah. I'm really glad the Blues decided to kind of reach out to the offer sheet side of things last season to bring this guy to St. Louis. And he's been a very positive sight for the Blues. I mean, 26 goals, you pair him up with, and I don't think they're going to who knows where he's going to end up. He's going to be a first or second liner coming into the season. I believe he'll be okay to start the season.
Everything's pointing to, from what I've heard, that he will be there to start the season.
Yeah.
From what
they never came out and said what actually happened, did they?
Knee or hip, I think.
I thought it was a knee, but I didn't think they said what was the issue with the knee. Which is fine.
It was
pretty significant. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he came off the ice, he couldn't put any weight on that leg.
It kind of makes me wonder if he had to have torn something in there then.
Probably.
That's the only thing I could think of. But again, you get a guy that's 26 goals. He led the Blues in game-winning goals. You see the little stats here. Props to the St. Louis Blues. I did not make this. By the way, just so people know, this is from the St. Louis Blues. Career high in goals, assists, and points. So everything's positive when it comes to Dylan Holloway.
How much do you think, after seeing seasons from Broberg and Holloway, are you thinking that Edmonton is shooting themselves in the foot for not keeping these guys and giving them higher roles compared to what they are giving to some of their other players?
Edmonton shot themselves in the foot by giving Darnell Nurse the amount of money that they did.
Oh, you're not kidding.
That's the issue. So it's hard to be like, oh, this sucks for Edmonton. Like, they could have had both of these guys, but at the same time,
potentially to see Edmonton potentially losing McDavid next year.
Yeah, very possible.
Because, I mean, we've all heard the comments of what he has said, that he wants to be with a year in, year out contending team. And
do you blame him? He's been in Edmonton for how long? And they've made I know they've made it back-to-back years, but
I think 10 years, 10, 11 something years in Edmonton.
It's got to be more than that, right?
I think it's close to, well, when they come into the league.
15, I guess, 16 or 14.
Yeah, it would be about 10-ish years, 10, 11 years at that point. Well, 12, actually. But, yeah, who's counting?
I'm going to look. I'll find it. Nope.
Kind of spiraling at this point with this, but hey,
2015. So this will be
10, 11
this
years.
will be 10th season. Yeah, it's 10th season as Edmonton Oilers. So I don't know.
That would be interesting to see if he ends up staying in Edmonton or not.
Yeah,
that would be depending on what he does. I think is what's going to shape that franchise of where they go. Because I mean, you do have Draisaitl for what was it? He signed a huge deal, but yeah, he's. I mean, it's going to be something that you're going to really shape Edmonton whether he stays or goes, because there's not going to be a lot of teams that are going to be able to take his cap hit.
Yeah,
per year.
No,
and it's
going to go
significant.
Up. Yeah, it's going to go up. People are going to have to pay, and that was going to be my quick last final question to you: is Holloway is going to have to sign. They're going to have to sign Holloway if they're going to keep him.
Yep,
they're going to have to sign him. Is he going to get the same? I mean, you have to give him close to the same amount of money that you're giving Kyrie with Thomas if you're going to keep him in St. Louis.
Oh, for sure.
8-9 million a year.
I was thinking about this a little bit throughout, because I thought I saw a couple articles about Holloway and a couple articles about Broberg. I mean, you might be looking at 6-7 years for this guy. I mean, I would not be surprised if you're seeing 8 or 9 million.
Yeah. I'd say 8 to 10 million
for Holloway. It'd be different, I think, for Broberg, but I feel like for Holloway, I think you're going to be looking at about 8 to 9 million AAV.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Kind of going off of where the salary cap is going, where guys are getting now,
especially with the season that he's had.
Yeah, if he can continue to build off of that too, you're gonna have a $10 million
easily. I mean, last year and this year are going to be cake. I mean, especially with having him for what was it, 4 million, 2 million,
some 4 million, I think.
Still, obviously, but
yeah, that's nothing.
I mean, having him at the price that you're getting him at right now with the offer sheet, dig it all day.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how that all works out, though, at the end of the day.
For sure.
And whatnot. So we'll I don't have anything else. That's all I had for today. So just to look at the schedule, they'll talk on Dylan Holloway and where we think the Blues are sitting in the Central Division. Brandon, any final thoughts? I know probably we'll hold off on doing one of these for a little bit till season gets a little bit closer. Maybe do kind of like a season preview here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
a little more of a in-depth season preview if possible.
Probably like maybe mid-late August, kind of like what we're at now, doing a little bit of a preview.
Right.
Other than that, So I mean, it's kind of getting into that dead period, kind of where you're not going to hear a whole lot.
It's a dead period in sports in general. I know we have the WNBA and the NBA Summer League, and you have the don't roll your eyes at that. Give them their money.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that about the WNBA. I'm saying about basketball in general.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Charlotte Hornets on their Summer League championship. I know nobody gives two darns about that. Just wanted to throw that out there. So maybe there's a little bit of excitement in Charlotte for the upcoming basketball season because the Carolina Panthers are not going to be very good. So, anyways, this is the Blues Show. I don't know what I'm talking about all that for.
Hey, hell, we were talking about Edmonton earlier, so
that's true. Any final thoughts? I did kind of a little reminder. It is, as of right now, Alexander Ovechkin's last season in the NHL. They come to St. Louis in March. So if you're planning on seeing Ovechkin for the one final time, if he decides to actually hang them up at the end of the season, that would be the time. I think it's like March 24th or 25th or something like that. Washington comes to St. Louis, so I'd imagine that's going to be a sold out game for just that reason alone.
More than likely,
the greatest hockey players of all time wrap up a final season in the NHL.
I mean, it's only really good at scoring goals, but yeah, one of the greater players.
How many goals do you think he's actually going to get? What is he at? 5 or 8? 809? Is he past 809?
He's like, I thought he was a few past Gretzky's old record, but I mean, having a whole season still to potentially add to it to where a record that many players.
897. He's going to get over 900 goals, 900 career goals easily.
He'd probably be at like 915.
That's what I'm thinking. 915, 920 maybe. That's a lot of goals. Good luck to whoever's going to try to beat that.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, everybody thought that Gretzky's record was going to be impossible to touch. I feel like if he is able to get it over the 900 mark, I feel like that's going to be, unless you have a generational player like Gretzky, like Ovechkin, these guys aren't, you won't, even McDavid, you're not going to have very many people that are going to probably be able to touch those records, aside from having somebody like a generational player like those guys.
McDavid would be the only one who I think could come close to it. Actually, scratch that. Connor Bedard. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I don't know if McDavid really would get close. I mean, the last couple of seasons, you've seen him really drop off in his
assist
production. You've seen him get more assists than anything, like the last couple of years.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yep.
It'd be interesting. All right. That's this episode of the Blues No Show. My name's Brandon. That's Brandon. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. Here to STL Sports, and we will catch you on the next episode.